I had a good idea. I've been playing around with the Nano Cortex now for a few days, and I'm about to head out to a rehearsal with the country band. So I thought maybe I'll leave the Helix at home and I will do, what we should never do and just try out a brand new piece of gear in an environment where you have nothing to fall back on. I've got the Nano Cortex ready to go. I've just picked up a guitar. I've got my whip fill. Let's just jump into it. So I'm going to jump onto the Cortex cloud on my phone. So let's have a look. Hold exit and capture for 1 second. There we go. Cool, we are connected. So let's see what we've got at the moment. Clean My Dreams. Cool. It's pretty nice tone, not very country. So let's see what we can do. I have never done this before in terms of creating a preset. The presets on here are so good, I haven't really needed to. But, we have the power, so let's see what we can come up with. So choose an empty slot. Let's create a new preset. Neural capture. Okay, so this is where we can choose which amp we're going to use. We've got a few different banks on here, all with different amplifiers, different amps that have been modeled by Neural. Got a couple that I've downloaded from the Cortex cloud as well. I'm just going to stick with the ones that come with the device. So if you want to recreate these presets, if they're any good, then you can do. So let's start with... I really want to start with this Silver Jubilee, but it's probably not a good idea. Let's go for this one. US Print 65.4. You can probably guess what that's modeled on. Okay, so we have an amp. Ooh, that sounds nice. Okay, so yeah, for the modeler crew, you can probably hear that. Well, you can all hear that. But for the modeler crew, you probably know that that is the sound of an amp that doesn't have a cab. So let's just try some cabs. Oh, we've got quite a lot of drive on here. Okay, that's fine. Just dial that down. I'll try that on the actual device. Cool. So just for some context as to what I'm actually trying to do here, when I play in this particular band, the band is called 52nd State. Check us out. We're in Bristol. I typically use 4 different sounds. The cleanest of cleans, which is usually some form of Fender Blackface style amp. Something with like an edge of breakup, just a little bit of bite to it, which is probably the tone that I use for 90% of the set. Then I use something which is a bit kind of hairier. I'll typically stick an overdrive in front of the second tone and then just, give it a bit more something. And then finally, the fourth sound, because I'm using snapshots on the Helix, is basically just a boost. So I will have those tones available to me, and if I'm going in for a solo, I'll just stick on the boost variant of those snapshots, or I'll have it mapped to a foot switch, and I'll just stick that on. In terms of other things that I do use a wah pedal quite a bit. I say quite a bit. I use it in one song, but I really use it in that one song. That's my dog. He is not a fan of wah pedals. Let's just try some other amps on this. Some other cabs on this. Should probably tune up as well. Cool, close enough for jazz. Okay, so this is like a sort of like a Marshall 412 with greenbacks. Sounds quite nice. Bit more bite on there. So if I'm using a clean tone, I'm probably gonna go sort of both humbuckers in this guitar anyway. It's often used for like if there's an acoustic part in the song, I don't want to take an acoustic guitar with me. I'm usually taking this and a backup anyway. So I try and just sort of get as close as I can. Still quite a bit of bite on this. I like the cab. I'm not so sure on the amp. So let's just try, see what else we got. It's quite quiet. Let's bring up the gain. Yeah, okay, I like that quite a lot. That's nice. I don't know what this is modeled on, but we can find out. Cool, okay, so we have an amp, we have a cab, input gate, not really needed, not playing with loads of gain. This guitar has humbuckers, so I'm not really trying to cut out any buzzing. What do I want? I actually don't really want a lot on this particular preset. I will have a bit of reverb, but not, you know, nothing crazy. I usually just go for something pretty basic. I do like a spring reverb, particularly for this band. It fits the genre really well. It's a really great sound. Not available on the Nano Cortex, so, you know, hopefully that's something we get to see in a future update. Let's just try the ambience. We'll turn that on. Nice, just gives it a little something. If you want to hear what that sounds like, bump up the mix. So quite a fast reflection. I think I'm going to keep it pretty... Yeah, I think that works. Bearing in mind, you know, I'm not recording this. This is just for live use, so we're going to be playing in a fairly lively room most of the time anyway. So cool. Okay. Do I want to put anything else on? It's really tempting to go overboard and put a load of compression and stuff on this, but I have to be honest, I just don't really need it. So let's save that one. I'm going to call this one CH clean. And I'm going to assign it to a foot switch. I'm going to assign it to 1A. Nice. Okay, cool. So that is super inspiring. Let's go to the edge of breakup tone. I'm wondering, actually, can I like copy this? Save as... Yes, I can. Save preset as... Let's save it as CH... dirty. And I'm going to stick this on... No, actually, I don't want it on that foot switch. That's fine. We'll leave it there for now. What have we got? These are obviously the same preset at the moment. Right, now let's give this one something. Let's give it a bit more character. I'm actually not going to change the amp because I actually think if you change the amp too much or too quickly between different sounds, unless you're Eric Johnson and you're switching between, you know, Fenders and Marshalls for different parts of the song, then let's just keep it kind of straightforward. Actually, that's boring. Forget that. I'm going to see what else is out there. So, oh, Matchless, yeah. I like that. It is super kind of boomy. There's quite a lot going on the bottom end there. So let's just see what we can do. Now, I have the EQ on the pedal in front of me, so I can drop the bass down a bit. Yeah, that's quite woofy, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite woofy, like the dog. I'm still kind of getting a bit of high end that I don't really like the sound of on there. Let's just... Hello. Okay. I didn't know I could do this. So in the IR loader, I can change the position of the microphone. So this is the distance from the center of the cone to the edge of the cone. And I can also, so typically, yeah, nice. So the closer to the cone you get, the more focused sound you'll have. It will probably have a little bit more clarity, certainly in my experience, but you know, different speakers, different cabs, different microphones all have different effects. So, you know, play around with them, find what find what sounds good to your ear. Okay, so I like the sound of that 421. I am actually going to put a bit of a low pass on this. That's a little too much. Yeah, okay, that sounds better to me. I am going to plug this into a Fender FR12, so it's going to sound completely different once I plug it into the cab. That speaker does have a like a high cut control on it. I don't really use it that often because I'm generally having the speakers there for me. It's not really there for anyone else. I'm usually going straight to front of house for the modeler. So, you know, as long as I've got the sound kind of sounding good here through my monitors, I'm sure it will translate well to the cab. Of course, I'll double check before I take it to a gig. But like I said, this is just for a rehearsal. So, cool. That's nice. Sounds good. Apologies for the tuning on this guitar. It desperately needs some new tuning pegs, and I can't really bother to keep tuning it. Okay, so save that one. Preset saved successfully. Okay, let's have some fun with this one now. So I'm going to just completely go off the rails and find a new preset. Empty. I'm going to create a new preset, and I'm going to call it. Oh, I'm not going to call it anything yet. I'll wait until I save it. Okay, so we have no amp, we have no cab. I'm just going to channel the inner Slash in me, and I'm going to go for the Silver Jubilee. Or let's get a cab on it ASAP. So it's a Marshall, so it needs 412, obviously. Oh, that sounds good. Not quite the quintessential country tone, but certainly for some of the songs in the set, it's not going to work for any of the songs in the set. It sounds pretty good though to me. Let's make it a bit more usable. Okay, so what do we want to change? It's obviously super high gain at the moment, so we'll just bring the gain down a bit. That does actually clean up quite nicely. Okay, that could be a rhythm tone candidate. Maybe that's probably more than enough drive. No, I'm not going to put any more on. I'm going to leave it as it is. I typically find that if it sounds like it's the right amount of drive on the monitors, it's probably too much when it comes to plugging it in to a cab or playing it at a gig. I don't know why. I wish it wouldn't happen, but it does. So I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I'm going to put the reverb back on. I'm going to use the same reverb. I'm going to keep it ambience. There's probably a way I can copy this preset, but I don't know how because I'm completely new to this. Actually doesn't sound quite as good. That's better. Nice. Okay. So we'll save that. I'm going to call this CH. Very dirty. There's a joke in there somewhere that I am not prepared to make. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. So I think that's probably enough for the time being. I do want to have the option to put like a boost on here as well. So as I said, I use this tone for 90% of the set. So let's use this one. We'll call it CH Solo. Stick it on 2B. And then we've got a nice rhythm tone. That does sound better than the Marshall for the rhythm tone. I'll stick with that. Let's give it a little bit of oomph. So try and get as much from the amp as possible before adding any pedals on, or any effects, certainly in this case. So let's just... that's nice. It's not really doing a lot for the volume. It's doing a little bit. But in terms of the trade-off of, how much gain am I going to add at this stage, what I really need is more gain, sort of like further along in the signal. So I don't really want to add too much more overdrive to that. Let's just look at what I can do in terms of, I guess I could just turn up the capture volume. So maybe I'll just do that and just add a couple of extra dB for the time being. And then what I'll do is I'll A/B it, I'll see how it sounds. Yeah, that's nice. Again, this will sound completely different when I put it through the cab. It may even sound different when I put it through the PA. So let's just get something set up. I'll try it later and then I can make the changes as I need to. So cool, let's save that. All right, let's see what I've got. So we have the clean tone. Sounds nice. My dirty tone. Yeah, like that. Then we've got a bit more. Yeah. So I'm already hearing that because I've changed the cab, just the overall character is wildly different between those two tones. What the f just happened there? Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm actually going to keep the cab the same. So if I take a look at my CH Dirty preset, I'm using this US Twin C12K. Let's stick that on this preset as well. Yeah, it just gives us a bit more of a consistent sound. Okay, let's save that one. And then finally, I've got my solo tone. I need to change the cab on that as well. I'm already using that cab. Happy days. Okay, so yeah, brilliant. So clean tone, dirty tone, very dirty tone. Yeah. And solo. Yeah, okay, sweet. I think that will do. Cool, okay, so I'm going to take this to rehearsal. If you've enjoyed this video, check out this one. You may also find it interesting. Bye for now.